You know, you guys, as we find ourselves just a couple of weeks into this new NBA season, where it seems that most teams are still just trying to find their footing, and the league for the most part has essentially been a roller coaster. And when I say roller coaster, I don't think anything plays more into the validity of that statement than the Utah Jazz currently being the top team in the Western Conference. If you had to select one team thus far that has not only lived up to, but also exceeded their expectations, it would undoubtedly be the Milwaukee Bucks. Because, well, with their record best start in franchise history, Giannis just seeming to get better as every day goes on, and also remember the fact that they're doing all of this without their second star player in Khris Middleton. Yeah, I think it's safe to say they've rightfully earned that number one spot in the power rankings. And some of you might be wondering what's changed about this team to let them get off to such a hot start like this, and the answer might not be what you're expecting. So let's get into it. Also though, guys, if you haven't yet, don't forget to drop a like on the video if you enjoy and subscribe to never miss another NBA video. But also, speaking of the NBA, if you know basketball and you seem to pick the winners all the time, it's about time you get paid for it and take a win of your own with today's sponsor in MyBookie. MyBookie has the biggest online selection of odds and contests for all your sports betting needs, anytime, anywhere. And they're also willing to match your money up to $1,000, but we'll get to that in just a second. Bet on the NBA, the NFL, or even swing for the fences with MyBookie's brand new money bag. The MyBookie money bag is a one-of-a-kind opportunity to spin for crazy odds on props and futures. Just place your bet, spin the wheel, and get ready to score epic odds on the best teams, athletes, and events. Sign up today for free using the code DIGEST and claim a deposit match of any amount up to $1,000. That's right, sign up today and claim a deposit match of up to $1,000 with our promo code DIGEST. It's not just a sportsbook, it's a community. Bet anything, anytime, anywhere with MyBookie. But anyway, to get back on topic with the Milwaukee Bucks, as I somewhat already mentioned, would you believe me if I told you that a guy coming off of a season averaging 30, 11.5, and 6 per game is somehow yet again noticeably better? And when I say this, trust me, it is not just from a numbers perspective, because even though he is on pace through this small sample size to average the most points he's ever put up per game in his entire career, one of the biggest reasons this team is dominating in the fashion that they are is due directly in part to the versatility of Giannis's game and how much he has been able to expand it as years have gone on. Because, I mean, with Giannis, sure, we know he's physically borderline unstoppable, and whenever he gets within 2 feet of the rim, it's pretty easy for him to get a bucket. But over the last couple of years, and even specifically this year, we've seen Giannis been able to add an element of finesse to his game that has made defending him even more of a living nightmare. Now, I know that some run and dunk man people are probably going to troll me in the comments when I say this, but when I do say this, I am referring to his improved perimeter offensive ability. And yes, when you do look at the numbers, specifically from behind the three-point line, it doesn't look very pretty or even improved, as I mentioned, but what some people don't seem to realize is that it's not necessarily about how improved and overall efficient Giannis can become in this regard of his game, but more so it's just about being a viable threat at the least in this regard. Because even the fact that Giannis is taking this many attempts from deep per game, even though it is below the NBA average, it's at least forcing his defenders to respect the shot more than they have in the past. And even his mid-range, which was and continues to be at a career best for Giannis, one, while he can score from the outside now, is also leading to more interior offensive abilities, which of course he is already one of the most unstoppable in the league at doing. And second, which might be the most underrated part, is that it only creates more opportunities for his teammates. And the rest of this Milwaukee Bucks squad, at least to most NBA fans, is probably what's going the most unnoticed regarding this team's success. Because I know for a fact that I'm not the only one that saw some of the backlash the Milwaukee Bucks might have been receiving for their quote-unquote questionable moves over the offseason, or even lack thereof. Because following the prior season in the Eastern Conference, where when you took a look around at least, many teams were making pretty major efforts to try to improve their roster, Milwaukee took that exact look around, added Joe Ingles with their mid-level exception, who they're also only going to have for about half of the 2023 season, season and said we'll call it quits. And while that is in no way meant to diss Joe Ingles whatsoever, as I think he will be a great addition to this rotation once he's able to return from injury, some people around the league, whether they were Bucks fans or not, thought that maybe something else should have happened in terms of trying to improve this roster. And trust me, I get it, because as fans, we are always looking for our teams to improve their rosters in the best ways possible, but also, people just seem to very quickly forget how much growing chemistry within a returning team can do for you. Because, well, as you could expect, the Bucks had quite the return rate for their roster this year. In fact, it was 14 of the 17 players from last year, which was the highest percentage out of anybody in the league. And again, while I know it is a small sample size and we're just a couple of weeks into this new season, I'll just say that if all continues to go the way it currently is in Milwaukee, Giannis might just have the best supporting cast he's had in his entire career up to this point. And with this conversation, you of course have to start with the current number 2 option, but usually number 3 in Jrue Holiday. And while some people might say he's a tad overpaid, and it can also be mentioned that he probably is one of the more streakier players the league has to offer, you cannot deny the fact that he is one of the better two-way players in the league. And again, to have this guy as your typical third option is nothing short of a blessing. And then in the next tier, you have guys like Bobby Portis, who you were unsure would actually be on your team for the foreseeable future until this offseason, and Brook Lopez, who honestly, his future with the team has been in question as of recently in terms of how durable he might be over the next couple of years. And I mean, even though the numbers might not pop out as anything crazy from either one of them, this year so far, we are currently seeing the highest levels of production from both Bobby Portis and Brook Lopez that we have maybe seen in their entire Bucks careers. And of course, with all of these guys mentioned, and you throw Khris in there too, these are the top 5 that you kind of think of whenever you have a discussion about Milwaukee. But what might even be crazier about this team is their quote-unquote second unit. And when I say second unit, it sounds funny because I'm actually referring to 2 guys that are currently in the starting rotation, but with additional pieces in guys like Jevon Carter and Grayson Allen, and even rookie Marjon Beauchamp making a ridiculous two-way impact so far, along with even a further list of viable options in guys like Jordan Nwora, George Hill, Wes Matthews, and even Serge Ibaka. And again, even the thought of trying to throw Khris Middleton and Joe Ingles later into this rotation, you gotta start asking questions about who's going to be sitting the bench out of this group of guys. Nonetheless though, with the ability of a majority of their bench pieces to be able to step up offensively has been terrific for Milwaukee's success, the team's defense from top to bottom has been nothing short of incredible. And when I say this, while watching almost any game of theirs this season would be enough proof to you, the numbers from them on this side of the court that we've seen so far can definitely also testify to this. Now with all of this, I'm not saying the Bucks have already been crowned as your 2023 NBA champions. Of course, we still have a lot of season left to go here, but what I am saying is that with a team that's already seen this much success, again without 2 vital pieces that will be making their returns to the rotation sooner rather than later, is that sometimes when you're always looking for that missing piece to the rotation, you might not have to swing for the fences in order to find it. Nonetheless though, you guys, with everything that we've mentioned so far regarding the Milwaukee Bucks, as always, I am extremely curious to hear what you all have to think about their situation. So please let me know in the comments if you've been paying attention to this Bucks team, what has been the most surprising aspect to you from everything you've seen so far. But again, you guys, if you haven't yet, don't forget to go down below and leave a like on the video if you did enjoy, and of course, subscribe while you're down there. We're coming out with brand new NBA content every single week, so you do not want to miss it. But also, I just wanted to say thank you so much to each and every one of you out there for watching. I appreciate you all more than anything. You all know this, and I will see you guys in the next video.